Welcome to The Explainer, the 2026 World Cup, the new era of chaos and upsets. Let me tell you, if you came into this tournament thinking you had it all figured out, you were in for a massive shock. I mean, we're looking at a tournament where historic pedigrees, past championships, and those intimidating reputations, they mean absolutely nothing. We're going to look at exactly how this brand new tournament format basically set the stage for an unprecedented wave of upsets. We'll review the sheer, unfiltered chaos of the group stages, and then break down a sudden death knockout phase that has left some of the sport's absolute biggest giants packing their bags early.
Okay, let's dive into this. Is this the most unpredictable World Cup ever? Honestly, the simple answer just might be yes. But you know, the much more interesting question is why? The mechanics of this tournament have completely rewritten the rules of international football. That familiar rhythm of the World Cup, the one we've watched for decades, was totally overhauled for 2026. And that structural change, it created a perfect storm for unpredictability.
It all starts with the sheer scale of the thing. FIFA expanded the tournament from the traditional 32 teams to a record 48 teams, pulling from all 6 confederations. Think about that. For the first time ever, every single confederation had at least one guaranteed spot. We're talking about a massive, global battleground playing out across the US, Mexico, and Canada. And look, more teams simply means more styles of play, more clashes of football and cultures, and just a much wider margin for the unexpected. But actually, adding teams was only half the equation.
Because to fit in all those 48 teams, this new format birthed a massive round of 32. Back in the day, only 16 teams made it out of the groups. Now, the top 2 teams from all 12 groups, plus the 8 best third-place teams, all survived to see the sudden death knockouts. What this essentially did was just blow the doors wide open for widespread chaos. It gave a lifeline to more underdogs than ever before. Basically, if you could just scrape by, maybe steal a gritty point here or there in the group stages, you suddenly found yourself in the knockouts. And as we know, in a 90-minute knockout game, absolutely anything can happen.
And man, did we see that play out on the pitch. The so-called middle class of international football has officially arrived. The group stages proved beyond a doubt that these smaller nations didn't just show up to trade jerseys and take pictures. No way. They arrived with the structure, the tactical discipline, and quite frankly, the sheer personality required to make the global elite sweat. We literally saw heavyweights clinging on for dear life to get draws against teams they were fully expected to steamroll. The traditional footballing hierarchy was put on serious notice. Talent alone just wasn't going to guarantee safety anymore.
Which brings us to group stage chaos, the fall of giants. It really didn't take long for the pressure cooker of those opening matches to claim its first major victims.
And boy, did those heavyweights crash out spectacularly. Just listen to this list. We're talking about Uruguay, a team absolutely stacked with talent, totally failing to make it out. South Korea, a perennial powerhouse over in Asia, done. Turkey and Iran, both teams with these immensely passionate fan bases and serious tactical pedigree, completely eliminated before the bracket even really began. This was the harsh reality of this new era. It wasn't just, a couple of bad bounces. This was smaller teams executing flawless defensive game plans and just ruthlessly punishing the giants on the counterattack. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the ultimate David versus Goliath story. Cape Verde. They are the absolute smallest nation to make the knockouts, making their World Cup debut as massive underdogs. Yet, they went out and engineered a heroic 0-0 draw against European juggernaut Spain. And if that wasn't enough, they followed it up by battling Uruguay to a 2-2 draw. Let that sink in. Those results are the exact reason Uruguay is sitting at home right now while Cape Verde advanced. It's just an incredible testament to the belief and the tactical execution of these emerging footballing nations. And this brilliantly illustrates that Cape Verde was not just some isolated incident. We witnessed an astonishing surge from the African Confederation, CAF. Get this, out of the 10 African nations that qualified for this massive World Cup, an unbelievable 9 of them advanced to the knockout stages. Senegal, Egypt, Ivory Coast, Morocco, South Africa, Ghana, DR Congo, Algeria, and of course, Cape Verde. All through, only Tunisia missed out. 9 out of 10? That highlights a monumental shift in global football power dynamics. The sheer depth of quality coming out of Africa is reshaping the tournament bracket entirely. Moving on to knockout earthquakes, the round of 32. Because if you thought the group stages were chaotic, this sudden death phase was a full-blown earthquake. And the epicenter of that quake? Well, it was a matchup that, on paper at least, looked like a total foregone conclusion.
Let's look at Germany versus Paraguay. The dominance of the four-time world champions on paper was just staggering. I mean, Germany held 75% possession. 75%! They racked up 21 shots compared to Paraguay's measly 7. If you only glance at the stat sheet after the game, you'd bet your house that Germany cruised to a super comfortable win. But the beauty and, well, the cruelty of knockout football is that passing the ball around doesn't win matches. Goals do. And Paraguay turned this game into an absolute masterclass of defensive resistance.
Let's trace exactly how this historic upset went down, because it was wild. In the 42nd minute, completely against the run of play, Julio Enciso heads in a cross to give Paraguay the lead. Shocking, right? Germany scrambles, they push hard, and Kai Havertz finally equalizes in the 54th minute. From there, the match just grinds into extra time. It gets incredibly tense, super physical. I mean, 5 yellow cards are handed out in extra time alone. And then, the pivotal moment. German defender Jonathan Tah heads the ball into the net. It looks for all the world like the dramatic late winner. But wait, the referee disallows it for a push on the Paraguayan keeper. Heartbreak. So it goes to penalties. And in just a brutally cruel twist of fate, who steps up for the decisive kick? Jonathan Tah. He fires it over the bar, and Paraguay wins the shootout 4-3. Unbelievable.
The fallout from this was immediate, and it was immense. This quote from the German media outlet Bild really says it all. Another nightmare for German football. The press back home was furious, calling the performance slow, boring, indifferent, and honestly, it marks Germany's 3rd consecutive early World Cup exit. That is a shocking fall from grace for a nation that literally used to define tournament consistency. And what makes it even crazier? Before this match, Germany hadn't lost a major tournament penalty shootout in 50 years. Not since the famous Panenka way back in 1976. But against Paraguay's unbreakable will, all that history meant nothing. Adding insult to injury, this shocking exit robbed all of us of a highly anticipated early final showdown between Germany and France in the next round.
But hey, the chaos absolutely wasn't limited to Germany. Just look at how the other heavyweights fared. We had this fiery, highly anticipated clash between Brazil and Japan that pushed the ultimate tournament favorites to the absolute brink. Brazil barely survived, scraping by 2-1 thanks to a really late goal. They were sweating. Meanwhile, the Netherlands? Yeah, they weren't so lucky. Morocco rallied with this dramatic stoppage time equalizer to force penalties and then stunningly dumped the Dutch right out of the tournament with a 3-2 shootout win. It just goes to show, every single match right now is a razor-thin tightrope walk.
And folks, the gauntlet is far from over. As we look ahead, this round of 32 still has some incredibly fiery matchups on the schedule. We've got a massive all-European clash between a young, super dynamic Spain and a very dangerous Austrian side. Then you've got Cristiano Ronaldo's Portugal squaring off against the battle-hardened veterans of Croatia. Based on everything we've seen so far, based on Cape Verde, based on Morocco, based on that Paraguay shocker, no team, no matter how high their ranking or how rich their history, is truly safe in this bracket. Which brings us to our final thought today. Expanding to 48 teams didn't dilute the quality of the World Cup at all. If anything, it democratized the danger. It gave us a tournament where the tactical gap between the global elite and the rest of the world has just rapidly closed. The giants are falling, the middle class has definitively risen, and the script is literally being rewritten with every single kick of the ball. So looking at the survivors and the giant killers still standing, who is your team to beat now? Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and enjoy the rest of this utterly unpredictable World Cup.